Nuclear war, cyber attacks, and natural disasters top the list of the 2018 Global Risks Report, but nuclear conflict climbed higher up the list of concerns after a year of escalating rhetoric between U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. As world leaders head to the serene, snow-covered mountains of Davos, Switzerland, the risk of outright war has risen sharply.
Each year, the Global Risks Report works with experts and decision makers across the world to identify and analyze the most pressing risks that we face. As the pace of change accelerates, and as risk interconnections deepen, this year's report highlights the growing strain we are placing on many of the global systems we rely on. Internationally, North Korea's nuclear tensions arise the top of the list as the major risk in 2018. First, the danger of miscommunication and miscalculation between states is heightened by the absence of a clear rules-based international order or a settled balance of power. Concern about possible conflict involving North Korea and the United States, the volatile clash between the strong state instincts of Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un during 2017, has created uncertainty about the strength of the norms created by decades of work to prevent nuclear conflict.
That's according to a survey released Wednesday by the World Economic Forum, which hosts the annual gathering in Davos, with more than 90% of nearly 1,000 experts from government, business, and academia predicting a worsening of geopolitical confrontations between major powers this year. Nuclear war, cyber attacks, and natural disasters top the list of the 2018 Global Risks Report, but nuclear conflict climbed higher up the list of concerns after a year of escalating rhetoric between U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
The United States has great strength and patience, but if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime. The United States is ready, willing and able, but hopefully this will not be necessary. That's what the United Nations is all about. That's what the United Nations is for. Let's see how they do. It is time for North Korea to realize that the denuclearization is its only acceptable future.
79% of those polled see a heightened risk of state-on-state military conflict, citing a rise in, quote, charismatic strongman politics across the world.
And if North Korea does not choose the pathway of engagement, they themselves will trigger an option.
That option may be a military response. It's a strong message from U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson to Pyongyang on Tuesday at a meeting in Vancouver where 20 nations gathered to talk about the regime's weapons program. Members at the one-day meeting, co-hosted by the U.S. and Canada, say the world needs to enforce tougher sanctions against the North, especially China and Russia. Both of those nations weren't actually at the meeting, and diplomats say any agreements made in Vancouver are limited at best. It also comes as the two Koreas sit down for their first talks after 2 years of soaring tensions. But across the globe in Canada, warnings the world shouldn't be fooled by Pyongyang playing nice.
It is not the time to ease pressure or to reward North Korea.
The majority of nations in Vancouver supported South Korea during the Korean War, and the North's allies, China and Russia, have slammed the meeting, calling it an example of what they say is Cold War-era thinking. On Tuesday, Tillerson again rejected China's calls to freeze joint military exercises with the South, and the day's talks focused on forcing Pyongyang into a diplomatic solution.
And we have sent clear messages to North Korea that we are ready for serious negotiations.
A mistaken missile alert sparked panic in Hawaii, a sharp reminder of the fears over North Korea's nuclear aggression. Top diplomats from 20 nations are sending a unified message. A nuclear-armed North Korea is unacceptable. The United States says it is not the time to ease pressure against North Korea.
Today, we discussed ways to further increase pressure on North Korea through more effective sanctions implementation and compliance. And countries came forward with proposals on how they intend to do that. We agree that the need for UN member states, especially China and Russia, to fully implement agreed-upon sanctions is essential to their success. We discussed the importance of working together to counter sanctions evasion and smuggling.
While others caution the world not to be fooled by North Korea.
We welcome last week's agreement between North and South Korea to hold military-to-military discussions and for North Korea to participate in the Winter Olympics next month. These are encouraging signals. But let me be clear. No true progress can be made in addressing instability in the Korean Peninsula until North Korea commits to changing course and verifiably and irreversibly abandoning all of its weapons of mass destruction.
North Korea is buying time to perfect nuclear capability while trying to get some sanction relief, according to analysts.
Actually, next year, in 2018, it's predicted that North Korea's economy will be only one of a few economies that'll actually regress. And that's a huge sign and a real challenge with the sanctions that have been put in place. And the reason that the North Koreans are going through all this is because they want nuclear weapons to hit the United States.
The Vancouver summit also intensifies efforts to stop North Korea from smuggling illegal goods through sea routes, according to U.S. officials. Nike Chin, VOA News, the State Department.
Of Iran,
you brought up
to be able to have the courage to step forward.
You brought up North Korea, and this will be my last question to you. The president has tweeted that he has a bigger button than Kim Jong-un. Is he playing with fire with Kim Jong-un and sort of tweeting, having this Twitter war with him back and forth?
President Trump has provided the kind of clear leadership on the world stage that's made measurable progress, particularly with regard to North Korea. And the message the president sent in the wake of Kim Jong-un's New Year's message, where while on the one hand he talked about wanting to reach out to his neighbors to the south, at the same moment he spoke of having missiles that could reach the United States and having a button on his desk. President Trump made it clear America will not be bullied, America will not be threatened, and that the United States of America has, by being clear, managed to marshal an unprecedented amount of economic and diplomatic pressure on North Korea. And after decades of North Korea stalling and ignoring the world community and continuing to develop nuclear and ballistic missiles, we're now literally beginning to see some movement among nations in the region. China is...
So you're not worried?
China is doing more than ever before. China needs to do more, but they're doing more than ever before to isolate North Korea economically and diplomatically. And I truly do believe that making it clear that all options are on the table, that as the president has done, making it clear the United States of America has the capacity to defend our people far beyond anything North Korea could imagine. but also making it clear that if North Korea will abandon their nuclear and ballistic missile ambitions, if they will dismantle those programs, there's an opportunity for a peaceable solution.
Mr. Vice President, nice to see you. Thank you, sir.
Great to see you, Greta. Thank you.